Hi, welcome back to the Cannabis Sommelier. I'm your host, Andrew Freedman. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Cannabis and Wine Pairings. Today, I'm really excited. I have a wine I've been looking for a few years. Action Bronson was the one that popularized it. It's one of his favorite wines, if not his favorite wine. So let's just dive right into it. Today, I'm happy to have the Susucaru by Frank Cornelissian here to try. This is a crazy bottle. Really, I think it restarted the natural wine movement with Action Bronson being so behind it. And you can see, this is a rosé, but it is dark. Like, what a cool looking bottle. And it is murky in there too. So let's make sure we get all the good stuff in the wine at the same time. So this wine, Susucaru, is a blend of 4 indigenous Italian grapes, co-fermented for 45 days on their skins together. That's why this rosé is so dark. And this is a really cool cork. I've never actually seen this kind of cork before. It's a little bit shorter, and it has kind of an entry point right down the middle. Very cool. All right. Very cool cork. Branded, looks like a little bullet actually. So this wine is grown in Sicily, right at the foothills of Mount Etna, and it is 100% biodynamic. They are very in tune with recharging the soil. What a color. It is like so dark, has a little orange tinge to it. The grapes that are co-fermented in this wine, I've never actually tried before or really heard of, so it's pretty crazy. And you can see when I get different parts of light, this is the darkest rosé I think I've ever tried. So let's smell it. Ooh, some funk. So I know it does all its own natural fermentation, small batch fermentation. Wow, it's evolving. It's a very interesting wine. The first thing I got on the top was like baking spice, almost like cardamom, strawberries, and a little bit of kind of volatile acidity. But as I dig, there's so many beautiful spices. It's like a mix of lavender and lilacs and raspberries and strawberries. And really nice soap. It is extremely complex and absolutely beautiful on the bouquet. Wow, it smells like such a pretty girl. It's just evolving in my glass. I may have to visit this again after we do everything because I have a feeling the wine's just going to keep evolving. I can already say just from the nose. My motto is the nose knows, and my nose knows that this smells amazing. Such an interesting wine. There's a little bit of petulance to it, some CO2, but just barely. There's all those same amazing like flowers and red fruit, and a little bit of that baking spice. This like delicious salinity from the black volcanic soils that it was growing on. The finish is impeccable. Oh, Action Bronson, I get it. You may have just found me one of my favorite wines too. Shout out to Frank Cornelissian. This is a killer bottle of rosé, and definitely going to take it into my blind tasting group. Wow, the nose is just so gorgeous. I don't want to keep going on, but great. Oh, so finessed. It's like you're walking through a garden in a beautiful resort, and you've got a little bit of your tanning oil on, some coconut coming through. That was gorgeous. Okay, so I went and bought some cannabis from Co-op Cannabis Store. Some legal cannabis. You can see here, this is my receipt. And today I have 3 products in my bag, and today I wanted to review the DNA genetics. I'll get that in a little bit closer, make sure it focuses. So this is, put it from my face maybe. Chocolate Fondue from DNA Genetics. They claim this is a sativa, straight sativa on the package, which we know it's not. This is a subsidiary of Tweed selling under this label. Got our warnings there to make sure don't become addicted. And so there's 1 gram in this package. It's quite large. You know, you can see it beside my wine glass. It's not a small package for 1 gram. Chocolate Fondue is Chocolate and Exodus cheese. So I chose this because I knew the wine would be a little bit funky and have some things going on. And I thought that Chocolate and the cheese would do well. I thought the cheese would add a little bit of funk. I've never had straight Chocolate Fondue. But you know, it's interesting having the DNA Genetics branding all over. You're not allowed to be in the cannabis industry in Canada if you're a criminal, but DNA Genetics has been selling all over the world cannabis seeds for a long time. So anyways, break my seal and my duty seal. And that one is childproof. Some of them weren't. This is some of the nicer packaging. Oh, look. And before I take it out of there, this is, it's already looking better than a lot of the stuff I had bought previously. There's full buds in there, and the jar doesn't go all the way to the bottom, so I kind of like the jar, but I also think it's kind of wasteful. On the nose, it does smell a little bit cheesy. Can I see when this was packed on here? This was packaged August 29th, so I think it did a good job of retaining the moisture. Well, we'll find that out. Retaining some of the terpenes. I had huge terpene loss on the last stuff. I hate the jar it's gone in. This is a $15 gram, so there's one of the buds. Well, I'll take pictures and I'll show you after, I guess. But the packaging is not great. It's really hard to get 1 gram of cannabis out. Okay, so there's the empty package. False bottom. There's my 1 gram of legal cannabis dutied up. So first impression, it looks all right. If I bought this as street cannabis, I would actually be happy. That's the first time I've said this with legal cannabis so far. And it does smell a little cheesy, but past that, not really much. I'm gonna rip open this big nug and really investigate it. And if you're new to the show, this is the first time we're actually doing dried cannabis flower on the show. Yeah, so it smells a lot more like cheese than it does like chocolate. I don't get any hazy characteristics, but I definitely get some cheesy characteristics. You know, bud looks good. No rot, no mold, nothing like that. Trikey. All right, so it's good. I'm gonna smell it side by side with the cannabis or with the wine and see how it does. See if it changes anything. So from the cannabis to the wine, I actually think it does. I think it makes the red berry fruit stand out and some of that crazy complexity actually disappears. So I don't know if that's a good thing. If you're not super keen on really nerdy wines, that might be a great thing. Totally. From the wine to the cannabis, I believe that it makes the cannabis not as like stinky cheesy, but more of an appealing cheese. Yeah, it doesn't really change anything. I think the wine's just phenomenal to start. So I'm changing it up again. I have my Volcano vaporizer here, my analog one. This is how I'm going to be testing dried cannabis flowers. I'm going to take, you know, a nice nug. Let's take the top of that best nug, and actually I want to save that for pictures, so I'll take the worst nug, and let's smoke it. And I'm gonna vaporize it. Sorry, and I will give you an honest review. I thought this was a much better way to give you an honest review in the show, just because I know a lot of you aren't able to go and press rosin, and that's not really fair for me to be making recommendations and reviewing stuff in a format that isn't consistent with what you can purchase. Okay, so it's kind of sticky too, not like crazy sticky, but it's not like mega old like all the other cannabis I received from the legal cannabis store. Okay, let's fire up the volcano. I have it on 5.5. Okay, so at that temperature, it's not ever crazy thick vapor, but we're trying to get the taste. So let's see how it pairs on the palate. As predicted, not a crazy amount of terpene retention, but it is a little bit more hazy on the palate than I did smell, and a lot of those cheese flavors are actually gone. And there are some nice kind of white flower blossom characteristics to it as well. Let's see how it pairs with the wine. I think it's a very nice pairing with the wine. It really highlights the floral characteristics that I talked about in the wine, like you're walking through a garden to a beach. I think it really creates this of lilac and all these white floral characteristics that I can't even name. It's extremely complex. And I should mention that the tannin of this wine is incredible. It's set for 45 days on its skin. So this is a rosé with some serious grip in your mouth. Absolutely wonderful. Huge fan of the wine. I'm glad that the cannabis was good because I've been having bad experiences with legal cannabis so far. So this was a nice surprise. I still think the packaging could get turned down a little for 1 gram, but I'm sure that'll be sorted out. Food pairing with the Susucaru. This could stand up to meat. Normally people say rosé, seafood. I'm thinking about, red meat, lamb, lamb shank might be amazing with some mint jelly or something, plus this wine. I think it could play in so many ways because there's so much going on in this wine. I wouldn't be scared to drink it with absolutely anything. Grilled octopus would be amazing. Anyways, I hope you'll go hunt out this wine, Susucaru, and Chocolate Fondue from Tweed and DNA Genetics. Not bad legal cannabis, so go check that out too. I hope you'll make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Until next week, cheers.